thoughts on what's going on today? I know you've been really a big part of the community here, and then also like how are you taking care of your mental health during this time right before the trial?
With my mental health and like the whole Derek Chauvin trial coming up, I've been very anxious. I know my house has been very anxious too, and I've just been trying to meditate more often and decompress at home and think about the pros and cons, what could happen, what could not happen, and just preparing myself at the end of the day.
What are your thoughts on what's going on? The trial's coming up. How are you taking care of your own mental health being such an active community member here?
Well, that's actually one of the things that we do here. I am the co-founder of 612 MASH, which is the medical entity that provides healthcare in this space. And mental health is one of the biggest things that we deal with here. And trying to make sure that we create a space for our people to be able to sit down and embrace each other, of course, COVIDly. um, but be able to support one another, mourn together, heal together, and be able to really open up the dialogue of really hard conversations that some people don't even know how to bring to the table. And so we do a lot of that with this community here. That's what helps within with taking care of my own personal care, um, sitting out here at People's Way, having conversations with the community members and really embracing what we're going through and looking for new and more innovative ways to protect ourselves and to protect our communities, standing as a whole together. I mean, it's you actions are important, right? They often say actions speak louder than words. And so just being the people out here taking the initiative on a daily basis to invest in our people as a whole is refreshing for my mental health, right? Seeing the progress that we've come. I've actually watched you guys grow too, you know what I mean? And seeing where this all started off at, I mean, your buddy Isak was out here right alongside with us too, and keeping the solidarity with the community and making sure that it was a safe space, right? You need a safe space. You need to be able to come somewhere that you feel safe to even begin to, you know, unwind or even let go of some of the fear that we have, because this is scary. This is survival. This is real. This is history in the making, and how do you not take time for yourself, right? Because this is about education and re-education. We got to make sure that we take the time to be educated, and that's what this is all about. I mean, there's no better way than to do it other than with the people that you know genuinely care. Genuine and loyal and love and honesty and purity, and the opportunity to have a space like this is a first of its kind. And so I thank you guys for being here and checking in on mental health, because it's super important. And seeing a face like yours gives that open and welcome, I see you. Hey, Queen, I do want to have a conversation with you. You know what I mean? Because they know you genuinely care, because you feel where they're coming from. You don't just, empathize. You sympathize. You feel this. You embrace it. You go through the same things. And it's important that we have our people talking to our people and helping each other, because community is the people. And so we got to keep doing it.
Thank you so much for doing the work that you're doing. You are amazing. You're incredible. Thank you.
Yeah, keep it a buck.
Period. Say it
Keep it a buck.
one more time.
My name is Patience Olanga, and I use she, her pronouns.
Thank you, Patience, for doing this interview with us. So we're coming here today to talk to community members about, where their headspace at during this time. It's right before the trial. Do you want to speak a little bit on that?
Yeah, I feel pretty anxious. I've been having to do a lot of reflection in the past couple of days about where I see myself in the coming months in terms of my health and in terms of my own sanity, honestly, because last year was a lot, and I did not handle that well, and I don't expect anyone to handle it well, but it was really bad. And to think that like I would have this winter, and winters are usually pretty slow in Minnesota, to think and reflect and do all of those things and feel like I haven't even scratch the surface of that has been really difficult for me. And so I've been really thinking hard leading up to this trial, like what does this mean for my well-being? How am I going to operate differently, knowing that it's going to be a tense time? And it's been hard. Like, I'm a photographer. I never anticipated entering this field in this way, or being engaged in this way. And so it's been a really uncomfortable time trying to understand what my role is, and how I position myself in all of it. Well, right now I've just been listening to music that makes me really happy, that recenters how I truly feel, not avoiding those feelings, because I think I've been doing a lot of that and not being honest with how I truly feel about this. I'm scared. I think that one aspect of this that I think many people in the city know, but like outside of Minnesota aren't really aware of, is like the threat of white supremacists, and how that was a really scary time for me as a woman, as a black woman, as a black woman photographer. And so I've been listening to music, to Solange, to Smino, like just people that remind me to be my authentic self, and processing with other black photographers, other black people, about how we can hold each other accountable to developing healthy mental health practices during the duration of the trial, and honestly even after too as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the work that you do. You are simply amazing.
All right, so first of all, what would you rate me 0 to 10?
0.
Anyways, y'all, this is the To Keep It a Buck This is the To Keep It a Buck podcast. Today is March 8th, the first day of Derek Chauvin's trial. If I'm not misunderstanding it, today they're starting jury selection for the trial, and we're about to head downtown and do some street interviews of some of the community organizers and just people who are down there holding space, kind of picking their brains, and hopefully we can find out how some of them are taking care of their mental health.
My name is Yasmin. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I live in Apple Valley.
My name is Emily. My pronouns are she or hers, and I live in Minneapolis.
So you guys are here today protesting. Can you guys tell us where your headspace at right now?
Honestly, all day I've been not in the loop and just trying to be as present as I can. Yeah.
I was just kind of like looking on Twitter, trying to keep up with all the things that are happening. And I just saw something that made me like kind of slow down a little bit because I was super anxious and like super nervous. And it was like, try to pace yourself. It's the first day and this is not gonna, it's gonna go on until mid-April. So we just got to pace ourselves and preserve our energy and like, the fight that we have within us. So that kind of helped me settle a little bit. But early on it was very anxious inducing and just a lot of, feelings.
Yeah.
So how are you guys planning on taking care of your mental health throughout this whole, until April?
Like I said earlier, just trying to pace myself. I think like it can get overwhelming trying to like scroll through Twitter, like trying to keep up with things. Like it can get to you really quickly and like you're getting like 20 different headlines. You don't know what's going on. You're not in the middle of it, so you're not really 100% sure. So just trying to, one, rely on dependable news to keep track of what's happening. And then two, like trying to pace myself and feeling a little bit more centered when approaching this issue at hand.
I would say taking care of my mental health, just in a sense of sometimes I can get really wound up in what I'm feeling. But I think something really important is to recognize that everything we're feeling and everything that's going on is so interconnected. that kind of helps me stray away from what I'm personally feeling and just coming together as a community to work together and recognizing that this is like everyone's fight.
Yeah.
And not just individually we're going through a lot of things, but everyone's going through it too.
Yeah, like you got other people, like we got each other
Mhm.
and other people in the community who are feeling the same way, so we don't got to be alone in this feeling.
Right.
Are there resources that you wish you had available during this time, like in regards to mental health?
I think it doesn't matter the resources, just representation. Um, Having people we can reach out to that looks like us, people who understand, and that takes, oftentimes when we reach out to people who don't look like us, it gives us more time to stray away from how we're actually feeling and makes us explain more than what's going on. So I think it doesn't matter the resources, it's just, I'd appreciate there's a lot more representation that represents the beautiful people that exist.
I think for me, it's like I can't depend on the resources that exist because they're not meant for me. And I know the only way that I can fully feel represented and heard is through my community and being with my community. But a lot of people don't have the right resources. The city doesn't provide the adequate funding that they need to provide these resources to their community members, and so it's frustrating because it's a double-edged sword. Like there are resources and there is money, there is funding, but it's not available to the people who can provide it to us.
Right.
And really understand what we need and meet those requirements. Because what the city has to offer or the state is not enough, and it's not representative, and it's not inclusive, and it doesn't really you know what I mean? So overall, I would say there are resources, but they're not meant for us. Therefore, I don't reach out, I don't partake in those resources, I don't look for them because I know it's not gonna benefit me in the long run.
Do you guys go to therapy?
I don't anymore. It's useless. To put it blunt, like I said, there's no representation. I've recognized the best way that I can heal myself is for me to pay attention to it and to recognize my own root issues and my root triggers and come to conclude that for myself. And that's made me honestly a better person, and it makes me recognize how I should react and communicate with other people, and it helps me bring other people closer to the main goal, which is just peace. So, yeah.
Yeah, we had a 3-hour conversation about this because it's hard out here, being black, being Muslim, being a woman, having all these identities, it's hard because, like I said earlier, the resources out here are not meant for me. I would have to spend time teaching this person who supposedly is helping me about who I am, and that is not enough for me, you know what I mean? So, like Emily said, I spend that time with myself to figure out what's wrong with me, or just trying to center myself, being a little bit more mindful, resorting to my faith, and trying to be closer to God and to Allah is what really helps me center myself. And I guess that's my therapy, and I got to do it alone. And well, I don't have to do it alone. I got family, I got people that love me, but I do have to do it for myself because the resources out here don't really get me, you know?
My name is Devon Mayweather from Minneapolis. I am 34 years old. I'm a Libra. I actually, I have a mental health challenge. I challenge with depression, bipolar, PTSD, etc. And I find it at these times, for me, being informed helps a lot. Understanding what's happening, staying on research, reading, music, and being with loved ones. Being alone it breeds depression. So being around loved ones is very helpful. And even if you're not physically around someone, you still have Zoom meetings, Facebook groups, ways to interact with people, still interacting with loved ones, and protecting your peace, I think, is a great way to get through these times with mental health challenges.
So with the trial, with Derek Chauvin starting today, where's your headspace at today? How are you doing?
I always choose to try to be positive, but also real. When I was actually taking photos, and I went that way, and I noticed how all the cops is right behind that wall, just standing there, posted with their guns and everything, and it looking at the environment, it makes you feel like they already know the verdict and they're preparing themselves for the reaction of the people because they already know what's going to happen when they say what they should not be saying. So, yeah. So how I feel eerie. Not really worried, just eerie. I I feel it in the air. I feel the tension. I feel, the anxiety of what are they going to say, and then I feel fearful of the pain from the blow. How much that pain, that strike, what I mean, will affect us, emotionally. Anger is not really an emotion; it's secondary. But the pain, the hurt that we feel from hearing a verdict that spells to us we don't care. I mean, if you don't convict someone, if I kill somebody right here, and I can say, hey, he was threatening my life, I was defending myself. If there's no proof for that, I'm going to jail. If it's a camera watching the whole incident, and it shows that I wasn't in danger like that, I'm going to jail. So why not you? You know, I stress this. Have you ever went fishing before? So can you tell when you're holding the fish in your hand when it's getting weak and when it dies? So with a human body, when a human body goes weak, you can tell, you can feel it because it's in your hands. So you know when that body was no longer strong enough to fight you, why didn't you stop? And then when an officer said, I think he passed out, why didn't you stop? Yes, sir. So there's no excuse to me. If you watch the whole video, get every aspect, there's no way he should be able to win this. And if he does, it just shows us that I don't care. And Michael Jackson wasn't crazy.
Period. Are you in therapy? Have you ever thought about going if you haven't?
Yep. I do therapy with ACMC. We got therapists, psychiatrists, caseworkers, everything. People that I talk to, be mindful who you speak to. And when it comes to mental health and depression, because the wrong people could feed you the wrong information, or even the right people can feed you the wrong information. So knowing, you always have that friend that's gonna say, yeah, let's go turn up and go, get revenge. Then you got the other friend like, let's calm down, let's be logical about this. What's the best options you got here? You want the friends around you that wants the best for you, that means you well, that don't want to see you locked up in these buildings right here, that wants to be able to say, hey, let's avoid the fire and go over here where it's cool. So, it's important to watch who you allow to speak into your life.
Well, that's all the questions we had today. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you so much for being here.
Yes, awesome sauce. I love it. What you guys are doing to me is awesome. Is needed because then people are able to express what they're going through, and they can be used in a database to be able to help people that go through those things. Without hearing from the people, you can't help the people.
All right, boom. So we just finished up doing some really dope street interviews in downtown Minneapolis on March 8th, 2021. First day of the Derek Chauvin trial. You know what I'm saying? Hope you enjoyed, this episode of Street Interviews. It's a really dope series. I'm excited to see where it goes and, hearing more people's stories and voices. You can find us at To Keep It a Buck. That's the number 2, Keep It a Buck on all social media platforms. We out here. And stay tuned for more. Peace.